It's time for another episode of Reading Taste Match. This is a series that I do on my channel. I've done it quite a few times now, where I ask a booktuber to swap some books with me. We swapped 3 books, 2 we liked, 1 we did not, and we see how much our reading taste matches up. For this episode, I'm super excited to be doing this with my friend Kelsi from Slime and Slashers. Kelsi and I generally don't read the same kinds of books. We both read horror, but the kinds of horror that we read are vastly different. So I think this is going to be a very interesting experiment. We definitely do have books that we agree on, so there's for sure a chance that we will like each other's favorites and dislike each other's favorites, but I'm not sure. So we are going to be testing that out. Kelsi is going to send me her video with her 3 picks for me, so I will be reading those in this video, and we will also be buddy reading Devil's Creek by Todd Keisling. This is horror. Kelsi also has a video reading the 3 books I had her read plus the buddy read. That is linked. Please watch that. I gave her some very interesting choices. I'm making her read out of her comfort zone. I'm so scared, but it's gonna be a great time. I'm not nervous at all. So let's see what Kelsi picked for me.
Lexi! I'm so excited to be doing this with you, but I'm also really scared, honestly. Okay, so I don't know what that was. That was like a squeak. Alright, so the 3 books I'm recommending to you, this looks like 4. The 3 books I'm recommending to you are, dun 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 dun. I think you know which I liked and which I didn't, but maybe you won't. I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna start off with the most obvious book that I will recommend, because if you've watched my channel, and I know you already know about this because we've sprinted before, I've talked about it before, so it is what it is, but you can keep it secret if you want, but I have kind of told everyone to read this just because it's an unusual story. I will not say if I liked it or not, but the first recommendation that I'd like you to read would be Nelfs by Sydney Williams. I am nice, though, because I know it has an audiobook, and I know you are an audiobook girly, so have no fear. It's got audio, Lexi. Yes, it's got audio. Essentially, the premise is we've got this little girl, Heaven, and all of a sudden she starts to see these cartoon characters that she's only seen on TV previously actually appear in her real life. And not only are they appearing to her outside of the fictional show, they are really bashing her mom to her. They're like,
Heaven, your mom's a bitch.
Anyway, I'm not going to say much more about the premise besides that. I am very eager to see if you will like this or hate this, so we will see. Alright, or maybe you'll just feel mad. I guess that's an option too. Second book choice. Dun 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 dun! This, okay, I'm cheating a little bit. Please do not kill me. I'm giving you a choice here because of book length. So either read Nana, or Nana, I don't know, Nana, Nana by Mark Towse, so not the Nana that you've already read before. I know you've already read the other book named Nana, whatevs, but you have not read, I believe you have not read, Nana by Mark Towse, Towse, and it's short, it's on KU. The other option, though, if you want to read something that is on your physical TBR that I know that you own, because you showed me a picture of your unread TBR shelves, you could read Touch the Night by Max Booth III. I don't want to make you outright read that one because it's very long and there is no audio. So you choose between those 2, but it's one or the other. I know it's cheating. Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me for messing up your whole freaking thing, but choose one or the other. It'll work. And last but not least, I'm going to say that I'd like to see you read Clowns vs. Spiders by Jeff Strand. This one, there are these group of clowns, and they get let go from the carnival/circus that they're working for, and they end up having to get a job at a Halloween haunted house, and they end up having to portray scary clowns. The clowns do not like this. They want to be fun-loving, special, fun, sweet clowns. They don't want to be seen as scary, and they think that by working in a haunted house, they are feeding into the stereotype that clowns are scary. Then later in the story, giant spiders do appear, so the title is very representative of what ends up happening. You do get clowns versus spiders, and I want to see what you think about the showdown between the two. So those are my book recs for you. 3, technically 4, but you're going to end up reading 3. I just want you to choose between Nana and Touch the Night, only because I want to give you the option and not force you to read a big-ass book if you're not in the mood for it. So, you decide, and I'm really eager to see what you think. Alright, Lexi, thank you so much for doing this with me. Again, sorry about freaking switching up the choices with the either-or thing, but I think it's for your best interest, honestly, so I'm doing you a favor. I'm a freaking gangster, it sounded like. Anyway, I love you, I'm excited about this, but also freaking scared, as I said before, but it's gonna be a blast. Let's go, let's get to reading. I'm also excited about our buddy read. Alright, that is it, I'm out.
Tell me why I thought she liked 3 of those books. Okay. Interesting. I'm gonna go collect these books, but I'm excited to get reading. I have started Clowns vs. Spiders. I am currently 33% in, which on my Kindle is 83 pages. I think this book is 250 to 260 pages. Also, while I have my Kindle out, I would like to say that this is from Project Hail Mary. It is not from anything else that you think it might be. It's from Project Hail Mary. I've had people bring it up and they're like, I was concerned for you. It's from Project Hail Mary. So while I'm waving my Kindle around at you, because if I have something in my hands, I'm going to do that. I just can't help it. Anyway, I am a third into this and I completely forgot the synopsis that Kelsi gave me. You all saw it very recently, but I forgot that they were going to be in a haunted house. So right now it is feeling like 2 separate stories. Obviously they're going to come together because it is clowns versus spiders. So in the one, we are following these clowns who work at a circus. They're like very happy clowns, very nice, like love what they do, wear little nice bow ties. They want to like entertain the children and all of this stuff. They all lose their jobs because the rise of scary clowns is a thing, so people are scared of even the nice clowns. They all want to continue working together. I think there's 4 of them, and they find themselves working at a haunted house. And they truly do not want to be there. They feel like they're like putting a bad mark on clowns and like reinforcing the idea that clowns are scary and all this stuff, and they don't want that information spread, but like they need jobs, so what are you gonna do? So they're working at this haunted house, and the one specifically is like, I hate this, I can't do it, like I feel bad, like I made a kid cry and I want to cry. So that's where I am in the clown story. So then in the spider story, we actually start off the book with the spider story, and it is 101 years in the past, and it is on a boat. I don't know if they're pirates or just general boat people, but they are attacked by these spiders. They're like gigantic spiders, and then they end up like going in this pit or something. And then in the present, we are watching this person that like bought, I don't know, a cave area, and they want to make it so that the public can like go visit it so they can get money. There's spiders in there. And then these spiders seem to be released into the wild, and then we see the spiders start to attack. They're giant ass spiders and they're coming for you. So I guess these clowns are gonna fight these spiders. I'm very interested to see how that is going to go. I'm truly having a really good time with this. It also mentioned the Hunger Games, which I was like, I think this is fun. It's like silly, goofy, like zany. It really feels like a Kelsi book, and I'm really, really enjoying my time with it. I think it's so funny to see these clowns that want to be like happy-go-lucky balloon animal clowns trying to figure out how to work in a haunted house, and like the idea that they're so into being clowns that like acting as a scary clown and scaring people is like traumatizing to them. And then the spider stuff, it's just, I don't know. It's kind of gross. Like, these are giant spiders. Like, the one dude, he was talking about it being the size of his arm with the legs. So I'm thinking, like, I have short arms, so bigger than that. That is a huge, disgusting spider. And then, like, when they get you, you don't want that to happen. So, it's going to be quite the showdown between these clowns and spiders. I'm really having a great time. If it keeps being a fun, silly time like this, it's going to be 5 stars. I'm assuming it's going to keep getting a little more gory. There's been a little bit of that on the spider side already, but like, it's going to get worse. And I am very interested to see how this is all going to happen. I am now to chapter 15 in Clowns vs. Spiders, and I'm still really enjoying this. It's been surprisingly like emotional, not like emotional, but I have just found myself caring about these clowns in a very short amount of time, which does not happen a lot in shorter horror books like this. It's funny because this almost feels like a slasher, but it's not. Also, I did want to say I have read one novella from Jeff Strand before. I read 20th Anniversary Screening, and I did enjoy it, but it wasn't like a favorite for me. I am liking this one a lot more, and I think I'd continue to read from him. I am having a really good time. I was expecting, I think, a bigger showdown. I was feeling like things were being set up to have this like big battle type thing, and that hasn't really happened. But the fact that that hasn't happened is not impacting my enjoyment. I'm still really, really liking this. I'm just less energetic at this point in the day. So that's why I'm not like reacting as strongly. But I'm having such a good time with this. As of right now, I would highly recommend this one. I do have a headache, so I'm not sure if I'm going to finish it tonight or in the morning. But I can't wait to see how this ends. I have finished Clowns vs. Spiders, and I just have cat hair just stuck to my chapstick, I guess. Anyway, I have finished, and I am going to give this one 4.5 stars. I had such a fun time with this. Like, it's like a silly, goofy, weird little time. Like, why are these clowns defending the clowndom, like kingdom but clowndom, you know? Like, why do these clowns feel like they need to defend clowns by fighting these giant spiders? It's so funny. It's so silly, but it was very fast paced. It kept my attention the whole time. I liked the characters. I just had a really fun time with it. I can't tell you why it's not 5 stars, other than the fact that, like, I wasn't quite as invested as I wanted to be. I was for a while, and, like, I don't know if it was just because I was getting really tired or what, but I've read books when I'm exhausted and, like, been obsessed with them. So I feel like there was just, like, something. I think that I just wanted it to be a little more, not high action, because there were always things happening, but there's just something missing for it to be 5 stars for me. But like 4.5 is so good. It was seriously so much fun. I would recommend this one if you like a fast-paced, silly time. There's also like gross bug stuff. Maybe that's the thing. I think I wanted a little more from the spiders. Like, obviously I didn't expect to get the spiders' perspectives or anything, but I just wish that there would have been a little more with them. Yeah, I would say that's for sure why this didn't get 5 stars from me. But like, seriously, highly recommend. Very fun. The ebook currently is on KU and the audio is included. So if you have that, that's an easy way to get to it. This would be a great one for really short readathons. There's one linked in the description if you're interested. But so fun. I'm really glad I read this. This was on my radar because Kelsi actually recommended it to me like a year ago, but she probably does not remember that because it was like a very passing comment on Sprints one time. But I am interested in reading more from Jeff Strand. I'm very excited this went well. I am 182 pages into this chunker. I do not usually read books that are this long, but I know people are always talking about their floppy paperbacks, and this is a good one. Since we're talking about the floppiness, I also want to talk to you about the physical book because I think there's some really cool aspects to it. One that does not come in every book. I got mine signed. There's a lot of really cool stuff in here, and you can see that the pages all have this, there's some maps. You can see that the pages have this like dark stuff on it, and you can see that through on the side. And if you look at it, it gets darker as it goes along, which I think is indicative of what's happening in each part, which I think is just so cool to see it visually represented on the pages. It's getting darker and grittier and more disturbing, and the horror is just like, it's going there. I just had a really bad deja vu. Did I film this clip already? So we have split up our buddy read into parts. There's 5 parts in here. So in part 1, we are in Stafford, Kentucky in 1983, and we are witnessing the end of this cult. It is very interesting. It's so messed up. Like, this character is pissing me off. I am just like getting angry thinking about him, and then I don't want to tell you like everything that happens in it, but like At the end of that, we get some journal entries that consist of different pieces of newspaper articles put together, and obviously the characters' thoughts. Also, some online forum stuff. I really want to show you this, but I don't want to show you it because I don't want to spoil what happens at the end of the first part, but there's like some cool stuff. And then we go into part 2, which also has a map, and that is the part that I just read. And it is now present day, and we are following the now adults, but the children from the first part that were involved in this cult. And I think it's really interesting. There has been some disgusting bug stuff in here, which I hate, but I love. And I'm really liking this. I think it's going to start to get just like absolutely crazy. I think it's going to have some very weird stuff going on, which I'm very excited about. My main complaint is that I think we're getting too many points of view, and it's just like a little bit muddled for me. I can't remember who is who. The one that I'm assuming is like the main character, which is the first one we got in part 2, is easy for me to distinguish, but a lot of the other characters are not feeling as distinguishable for me, so that's my only complaint. I'm so excited to continue reading this though. Part 3 is the biggest chunk, so I'm going to talk to you again at the end of that. But I'm having a really, really fun time with this, and I know Kelsi is too. Yes, my dog is wearing a shirt. He has seasonal allergies and is scratching himself till he bleeds sometimes, so he now wears a shirt, I guess. Anyway, I am now at part 4 of Devil's Creek, and I am liking this, but it just kind of like sucks because in part 1 I was predicting this was going to be 5 stars, and then in part 2 I was like, and this is kind of like, I need it to be a little more of something, but I don't know what that is. But I was like, I could still end up really loving this. And then in part 3, which is the longest section, I feel like, not that it was my least favorite part, but I kind of accepted that this is not going to be a 5-star book for me. The thing is, I think that there are too many points of view, point of views, whatever, and characters that we're following, and it's also in third person, which is not my favorite. I wish we were following 2 perspectives and then getting those characters' interactions with these other characters that we need to get information from. It's just not my favorite way for books like this to be set up. I am not finding myself connected to any of the characters, and not like I need to connect to them, but like I'm not getting invested because we're not getting enough time with anybody, and it's like really frustrating because this has the potential for me to be like a favorite book, but when we're jumping around so much and seeing so many different things going on, I can't just get invested in the characters and the story as much. Because as soon as something that I'm like so interested in happens, it switches to something else, and it's frustrating. Another thing that's bothering me is the amount of sexual content in here, like, and it's something that I kind of expect from books like this. I feel like men who write horror books just really love to add sex in it just for funsies, and like, I don't know, whatever. I will say also there's some language choices in here that I don't love. I do think it is because of the setting and not specifically the author using these terms in his like day-to-day life and thinking that it's like a good thing to say, but I just wanted to point that out. With that said, I'm still liking it. Like, it's feeling like 3.5 to 4 stars. It could be 4 stars if the second 2 parts really pick up, but I feel like we're just like starting to get things happening, and then it like switches to another perspective, and I just want the things that are happening to happen because they're gross and very interesting. And like, I think based on the little journal entries that we got at the end of this chapter, it's just gonna go like off the walls after this. I'm hoping, because that's really what I need this book to do. So I do have some complaints with it, but I am overall still really liking it, and the length of it isn't really bothering me. I don't know if that is because Kelsi and I have split this up over multiple days to read it, and I'm not trying to like get it all done in one day. I'm excited to get to part 4 though. Also, if you do read this, I think the physical book is really cool. There's obviously the stuff I talked about. There's drawings in it, there's maps, there's like certain things that are like, oh, and written on the wall is this, and then it's in a different font, and it's very interesting to look at. I have no issues with the audiobook, but I do really like this physical book. So that's it for part 3. I have finished Devil's Creek. So in part 4, I was feeling the same I was feeling about it as parts 2 and 3, and part 5 was so good. I think I'm gonna give this one 4 stars. I overall really liked it, and I did enjoy the story. What are you doing? Hey. What is he doing? Hi. So part 1 and part 5 are 5 stars for me. Parts 2, 3, and 4 are like 3.5 to 4 stars. Hello. What are you... You just sat on my arm. What are you doing? Why are you getting up there? What are you doing? Okay, we're just gonna ignore this very disruptive dog. He's a 50-pound dog, and he's just standing on the back of the couch. That's so funny. What is he doing? Does he think he's a cat? So sorry, I have not been talking about the book. He's never done this. I have not seen him stand on the couch like that. Anyway, in parts 2, 3, and 4, my main complaint is that I think there were too many perspectives. It did make a lot more sense in part 4, but I still think that we could have moved to getting more perspectives in part 4, and we didn't need them all in parts 2 and 3. So that is my one issue. My other issue is just like the sexual nature of the plot. It didn't need to be that much. I understand that like the author just wanted to write something dark and like messed up, and it is. Sex and horror books generally is just annoying to me, and that was the case in this one. But like all of the cosmic stuff that was happening in here, it says it's cosmic horror on the very front, was so interesting. The bug stuff, disgusting. The cult stuff was really interesting. I think it was very fast paced, and it kept my attention. Notice that I did not say a complaint was the length of this book. Do I think it could have been a little bit shorter? Yes, but like I don't think the length of this hindered my enjoyment at all, which generally happens for horror books that are over like 375 pages. So like that is great. There isn't anything that I was like, we should cut this out. And like, yes, if we cut out some of the extra perspectives, it could be shorter, but I think we could have still learned some of that from the characters if the characters were scaled down. But I really, really like the end. The beginning and the end were so good. I'm really glad that I read this. I think this is one that would have sat on my shelves forever because of the length of the book if we did not pick this. When Kelsi and I were discussing our buddy read, we had a couple options. One of them was really short. Kelsi seemed the most interested in this one, but didn't really want to like say that that's what she wanted to read. So I was like, let's just go for it. Let's do it. And I'm really glad that I did. Kelsi's full thoughts will be in her video, but I know she enjoyed it as well. And I had a fun time with this. So next up, I am going to be moving on to Touch the Night. I know I could read a shorter book, but I own this one. I like Max Booth, and I never prioritize it because there's no audio. So this is the perfect time for me to do that, or it's going to sit on my shelves forever. So I have this signed copy. And I was opening it. I'm a little bit scared now. I am on chapter 14. I am 136 pages into Touch the Night. This is the one that I decided to go with, even though there was a shorter option because I own this and I've liked from this author before, and I just want to prioritize reading books from my shelves. So it was a tough decision to pick the longer book, but I'm glad that I went with this one. So this is following 2 teenage boys, and at the beginning they are having a sleepover, and they hear some noises coming from the one's mom's room. So they end up sneaking out and going to this gas station and threatening the cashier for like an exchange, and it does not go well, and then they are on the run, and then these 2 apparent cops pick them up and are like, we know what you did, like all this stuff. So they take them, and the mom at the house that they were staying at believes that she sees the cops taking the kids, and was like, well, they did something wrong, so you know. So there's that situation, and then the next day, her name is Otessa, she goes to the station and was like, I would like to get my son, and they're like, he's not here. So Alonzo and Josh are the two boys. Alonzo belongs to Otessa, and then Mary and whatever the heck the terrible guy's name is, Jasper. Mary and Jasper are Josh's parents. So Mary is obviously very heartbroken that her son is missing, and the dad, Jasper, is a piece of shit, which Max Booth III likes to write. So far, I am liking this. There's a lot of discussions in here with race. Max Booth III is a white man, and he is writing black characters, which is like a whole discussion in and of itself. So I feel like he's writing himself in these characters and then adding the commentary on how black people are treated in these small towns, and especially by cops and like the system as a whole. The moms, who I'm pretty sure are going to team up and look for their sons, that is in the synopsis, and I am at the start of that at this point. I can't talk about anything that is happening. In the synopsis, it says there's a family of ungodly lunatics who are trying to complete a ritual decades in the making. The stuff with that, I was not expecting this. There's been some possible cannibalism. There's been a lot of gore and violence happening. And then there's just like something weird going on, and I don't know what it is, and I'm really, really interested to find out. I am enjoying this so far. I feel like he's really good at writing characters for you to hate. So far, so good. I am glad that I picked this one. I like watching the two moms trying to find their sons, but I'm so invested in what is going on with the two boys. It's weird. I am 265 pages into Touch the Night, and I'm still enjoying this. I did like this third a little less than the first one, and that is because we got a lot more of the two mothers that have teamed up trying to find the boys. I don't have any issues with them, but it's just not as interesting to me. Like, really, they are just doing whatever it takes to find their kids, kind of like in the vein of Razorblade Tears. They are doing what they need to do to try to figure out where their boys are, but I didn't love Razorblade Tears. That's just like not my kind of plot. So I think that part is the least interesting part, but the part with the boys is so weird, and I'm so invested in that storyline. Like, what is happening? Both perspectives have been gory. Well, there's technically 4 perspectives, 5. I don't know. We are getting the two boys, Josh and Alonzo, and both of their moms, and also a little bit from Josh's dad. He's not really in it much, but he exists, sadly. But like the two main storylines, the two moms and then the two boys, I like the boys' story significantly more. That's where all the weirdness is happening. I can't really tell you any details on why I'm liking it, but there's this family that is mentioned in the synopsis, and that I have so many questions about. It's not a typical family. It's really weird. This one is so hard to talk about, and I'm really sad about it because there's some really fun being relative, things going on in this, and I feel like we're not gonna get any answers knowing this author on why this is happening or really what's going on behind it. I mean, I think we will get some answers, but it's not gonna wrap up in a nice little bow, which I don't need. But I'm having a really good time with this. It's feeling like 4 stars. It's definitely not my favorite by him. That's We Need to Do Something. Also, I would like to say that I think Max Booth III has some issues with his dad, because between this one and We Need to Do Something, I mean, in Maggots Screaming, he was fine. So, I don't know. But, like, the dad is just, ugh. There has been some language in here that I'm not a fan of. I find that pretty common in these more independently published horror books. I feel like they're trying to show when characters really suck and use language like that. There has been the N-word and the R-word in here. So, yeah, I think the storyline with the boys is super interesting. Like, I just want to be reading that primarily. And in this last third, we just got too much of the moms, and I like them, but not enough for them to carry a plot line that is not as interesting. I have finished Touch the Night, and I think I'm gonna give this one 4 stars. I enjoyed it. It is not my favorite by Max Booth. That is still We Need to Do Something, but I did end up really enjoying this. I think it had so many interesting elements to it. And in the last third, we definitely were getting more of the stuff that I had wanted in the middle section. There's some like disgusting scenes in here, like it's so gross, and I think that's done really well. I think that he is really good at writing unlikable characters that you still want to be successful and like you want to root for them. All of these characters have their flaws for different reasons, and like I didn't hate any of them, but I wasn't like really invested in any of them either, but I still wanted them to get out of this situation. The ending of this leaves questions, as I feel like is usual with his books. This is the third one, and I feel like every time there's still unexplained things, which I like. I don't really want to be told how everything wraps up every single time, especially with something like this where the things that are happening are so unexplained. It's not part of our world. It's not like a thing that could just happen in somebody's day-to-day life. I don't know, it just makes it interesting to me to not really know what's going on because the characters don't. So I really like this. I think it had a lot of good discussions in it with the treatment of Black people by cops, especially in small towns. In the author's note, it says that this book was inspired by two cops who slammed his face against the hood of their car and screamed several homophobic slurs at him when he was 12. I don't think this was a perfect book. I do think it was a little bit too long because I wanted less from the moms in the middle portion, but overall I still really like this. I'm glad that I read this. I know that I could have read a way shorter option. I just checked in the other book that Kelsi picked for the two that she didn't like. The other one was 120 pages and this one was just over 400. I did look at her rating for that and I think that one was lower than this one. So maybe that one would have tested things a little more. I don't know exact ratings, but Kelsi did recommend Clowns vs. Spiders to me a while ago and she talks about Nelfs constantly. So I knew that this one was the one she didn't like. But I'm really glad that I read this from my shelves. I would have not picked it up in forever because there's no audiobook. I definitely will continue reading from Max Booth. His stuff is so messed up, gory, gross, and interesting, and I have a great time with it. So I am a third of the way into my final book, Nelfs, and I am not really loving this. Like, I think it's okay, but I don't really care about a single thing that's happening, and I'm not really sure why, because a lot of people love this. They're like, oh, it's so fun. And like, I think it's too fun for me. I feel like we have very stereotypical characters and it's just, I don't know. I don't know. Part of my problem is I think there are too many characters that we're following. We will just get the perspective of like a random person every once in a while. And I understand why it's happening, but I don't really like it. I think I would rather see one or two main characters finding out these situations instead of seeing these Nelf situations happening with random people. And they're not completely random because they are part of the plot. Like, they're all connected to this young girl that is being harassed by these Nelfs. Oh yeah, the synopsis. So we are following a mother and daughter primarily, and the daughter has a nightmare, and these Nelfs, which are an elf and gnome, and it's this like popular children's TV show and book and whatever franchise. So she has this dream where the Nelfs are talking to her and they're like, we hate you, we hate your mom, like we're gonna get you, like all this stuff. And then she starts to like see them in real life, and like she's like attacked with a knife and is like cut up and everything, but like nobody but this kid can see these Nelfs. It feels past to the point of like silly and campy and just kind of feels a little dumb and annoying to me, which is not what I was expecting for my opinion for this book. I don't know. I don't really like it. What a bummer. I expected to end this video on a much higher note, but that's how I'm feeling about it at this point. The way the mom is reacting to things is kind of annoying. So at the beginning, she has met this guy and she's gone on like 1 or 2 dates with him and is having him help her in this situation because her ex-husband has like just randomly left. And then there's this like other like priest kind of guy that comes in and was like, I know the answers to certain things, so I'm going to try to help you and figure out exactly why this is happening and how to stop it. And it just like all feels very cartoony. I'm not having the best time, which is a bummer, but I'm going to keep reading. It might get better, but I kind of don't anticipate it working out for me because I just feel like it's the style of the book that I'm not liking. So I'm kind of sad. I have made it 2/3 into Nelves, and I don't have much else to say besides I'm really not liking this still. I was hoping that it would get better, but all of the things that were bothering me with like the cheesiness and the like cartoony nature of everything is still like I'm not having a good time. Like I'm actively disliking this, which I was not expecting. I didn't specifically think this would be like an all-time favorite, but I didn't think that it was going to be this like cartoony, and it's kind of making me angry. Like I truly don't like it. I am not invested in a single thing. I don't care what happens. I'm not having a good time. So that's all. I'm gonna finish it and maybe I'll have more to say, but it's not going well over here. So I would like to preface this with what star ratings mean to me. 5 is I absolutely loved the book, like it's a favorite. 4 is I really liked the book, I had a lot of fun with it, but I had some issues. 3 is I enjoyed it, I definitely still liked it, but there were parts that weren't my favorite. 2 stars generally is a book is boring to me. I didn't have any real issues, but I was never invested. And 1 star is a book that I didn't like. And while people think that 1 and 2 stars are so harsh, that's pretty much the rating that if you hover over the stars on Goodreads, 1 star is you did not like the book. I did not like this book, and I feel like until now I've been shying away from giving books 1 star because it feels like that book is offensive and terrible. I didn't like this book, so if I'm rating on enjoyment, why would I give it the rating of something that I thought was okay but generally like was bored by? I actively disliked this book. I don't think there's anything bad with it specifically, but this is not the book for me. Everybody felt like a caricature. The storyline was boring for a lot of it. I was so bored. For most of this book, I feel like I had a lot of pacing issues. I didn't care about anybody. I found myself losing interest. Everything just felt so cartoony, and that is not a book for me. It's not. I don't think that these vintage, like, goofy style books are a thing that I should read. I also have some questions about some of the choices that were made with, like, characters and stereotypes and stuff. But, like, I don't know. This is not the worst book I've ever read, but I didn't have a good time with it. Yep. Okay. I don't have anything else to say about Nelfs. I won't be reading books that are similar to this moving forward. So, the rating comparison. With our buddy read, we both like this book. I'm not going to tell you Kelsi's exact rating, so you go watch her video. She did enjoy it a little more than me, though, and I gave Devil's Creek 4 stars. So, onto the books that she gave me. The first one I read was Clowns vs. Spiders. This was my favorite book of this video. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars, and Kelsi gave it 5 stars. So then Touch the Night, I gave this one 4 stars. Kelsi gave it 3. I will say, we all joke about Kelsi giving a book 3 stars means she hated it, but her 3 stars is very, very different from mine. Our rating systems are very different. So I am pretty sure I liked this significantly more than her. And then Nelfs, she gave 5 stars, and I gave it 1. So very, very, very opposite. That's how it all lines up. I would not say that Kelsi and I have the same reading taste. There are tons of books that we do really overlap on, but I feel like Kelsi's main style of books and mine are so opposite. With that being said, I love watching Kelsi's videos. I think they're very fun. She puts so much of her heart and her personality into her videos. Her editing is great. Even if you don't read vintage horror like myself, I would still highly recommend her channel. Kelsi is just such a fun time. She's such a like bubbly and joyful person, and I think that her love of what she's reading really makes her videos something special. So thank you to Kelsi for agreeing to do this with me. So sorry I hated one of your favorite books that you tell everybody to read. If you're looking for other videos like this, I have a full playlist of this series. Please make sure you check out Kelsi's video. It is linked for you. I gave her some very interesting books. If you've made it to the end and want to leave me an emoji to say you were here, you can leave me any sort of night emoji, so a moon, stars, whatever, for Touch the Night. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you soon. Bye.